The Ice Warriors make their return for the first time since Season 6, and this episode really doesn't feel like an Ice Warrior story. Similar to Day of the Daleks, it very much feels as though they are a bit of an afterthought. They don't really do that much in this story, and they aren't very important. You could basically throw any alien in their place, and it would have worked just fine. That's not an actual criticism of the story, I'm just kind of pointing out that these returning villains aren't super integral to the actual stories that they're in, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's definitely something I feel is worth mentioning. And this one is notable in that it is the second story in which the Doctor successfully takes the TARDIS to another planet, and in that way this one is a little bit fresh, and it feels like a little bit of a different pace for Doctor Who, and having it feel just a bit different to the other Jon Pertwee stories helps in making this one just more entertaining on the whole. And in addition to that, the Brigadier and unit are nowhere to be found in this story, which is another thing that helps to make this one feel different from other stories and feel like it's trying something else. And while the actual serial does feel, like a little bit of a change of pace, at the end of the day, it's not a great story. It's an enjoyable one, but it's not a great one. The Doctor and Jo basically go to this castle on the side of the cliff, which doesn't feel very alien, but it's a nice setting nonetheless, and our TARDIS duo impersonates ambassadors from Earth, and they encounter the Ice Warriors who really don't have much to do, but they do have a redesign which, is fine by me. I thought the original design worked pretty well, and seeing them in color also works pretty well, so yeah, I'm fine with it, but actually the use of the Ice Warriors in this one is legitimately confusing, simply based on what they've been set up to do in the past. I really don't know why they're here. There's a character called Alpha Centauri, who honestly has a really silly voice and is an absolutely goofy character, but I was able to roll with it.
Yes, thank you for reminding me.
Unfortunately, the success of our mission is threatened. Violently. But what motive could the Doctor have? A diplomatic courtesy, surely? Peladon's mother was an Earthwoman.
The voice was the only thing that really took me out of it at all, because I have become quite accustomed to the 70s production values of Doctor Who. Also, there is a character called Arcturus, who I really like the design of. It was basically just this creepy head somewhere around the size of a baby, and it has these tentacles and things sticking out, and I just really enjoyed that design. It definitely worked for me. There's also the character of Peladon, as played by David Troughton, the son of Patrick Troughton, who we have seen show up a couple of times before, and will be seeing again. And Peladon is a pretty decent character. He's basically exactly what you'd expect of this kind of a character in this kind of a story, and he doesn't really surprise you, and David Troughton is fine in this part, even if it's nothing particularly noteworthy. Also, I'm still quite enjoying the character of Jo. She's not the screaming companion in this one, she's genuinely entertaining to watch, and she's mostly rather smart. From episode 1, when they have to pretend to be ambassadors from Earth, she clues into what is going on really quickly, and rolls with it, not to mention that she's having good chemistry with the third Doctor. So yeah, I'm really enjoying what this season has been doing with Jo, because she's kind of delightful.
Which way now?
Which way indeed? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Meanie?
And of course, the Doctor is great in this story. He has good moments, although once again, we spend too much time with him being an action hero, which is a bit of a shame, but I guess that's just a part of the era to become accustomed to. I'm going to talk about a minor spoiler really quick. It's just really minor and probably won't affect your enjoyment of this actual story, but if you don't want to hear what it is, skip to this point on screen, and if you're staying with me, then let's keep talking. So in this story, we have a point around episode 3 where this serial basically tries to do something a little bit different that doesn't totally work. The Doctor has to participate in a trial by combat, and the episode dedicates a decent chunk of time on that, and it doesn't really feel justified. It's unnecessary, and I didn't really enjoy the time they dedicated to this part of the episode. Although I will grant that they had some rather impressive stunts in this story. They aren't perfect, but they're somewhat impressive, and honestly was a head and shoulders above the stuff that we've seen from other stories in Doctor Who, like the Aztecs from season 1. Oh, also the conclusion to this story was just a bit bland. It's kind of something that happened, nothing terribly remarkable or offensive, so that's a shame. Although, again, it's not bad, it's just there. Overall, I rather enjoyed The Curse of Peladon. It was a fun and engaging story that felt like a bit of a breath of fresh air. Joe Grant is quickly becoming a really solid companion, and the Doctor is great as usual. The supporting cast does fine in this story, although sadly the Ice Warriors don't add much of anything to this serial. This is an enjoyable, albeit inconsequential story, and I'm going to give The Curse of Peladon a rating of 7 out of 10. And that's all for today, folks. Be sure to let me know your thoughts on this story down below if you feel like doing so. And if not, I do hope to see you around this upcoming Sunday for a review of the Sea Devils. And if you did not join me for that, then that is absolutely okay, so long as you know that I appreciate your time here today. And with that said, thank you very much for watching, take care, and have a lovely week.